right, time right now is 8:30. Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning, we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, where you can see my handsome young guest here seated before me. And he is one of 42 people running for the soon-to-be vacant District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Actually, there's only 7, but to my knowledge, the last 16 years, this is, I think, one of the most contested races here on a local level. There's actually only one challenge contest, which is for a partisan office on the county level in Carroll County for the May 21st election, and that is for the District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Each of those candidates are Republican, and none of them are the incumbent. So on this morning's Community Voice, we have one of those candidates, Mark Johnson. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And thanks for coming out. The first candidate we're getting to interview for that position. I have a brief bio here that I'll go through first, and then we'll take it from there. Mark Johnson's a Lowell community resident. He's been a resident of Carrollton for 6 years, but his West Georgia roots run deep. His family has been in the Roopville, Lowell, and Whitesburg area since 1830. Establishing 3 churches in the area, several businesses, and even serving in the Carroll Rangers. I got to ask what that is later. After growing up spending summers on his grandparents' farm in Lowell, he fell in love with Carrollton and its fresh air, open space, and wonderful community. He returned here to Carrollton several years ago to purchase his grandparents' farm, and he's keeping it intact. He's been married to his wife, Natalie, for 37 years. Together they have 3 children and 8 grandchildren. Again, this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anything left in that bio that I didn't touch on that you want to throw in there?
Well, I am bivocational. I've been in pastoral ministry for over 40 years, and also I'm insurance adjuster. And the last 9 years of my career, I was a catastrophe adjuster. I've traveled through most of the United States handling every major catastrophe that we've had. And in that, I've handled all types and all kinds of claims from a few $1,000s up to several millions of dollars. I've handled farm claims, a few acres up to 10,000 acres. And I love meeting people and traveling the United States. And I love farming. It's something that I'm passionate about. And one of the things I was hoping that I would be able to get back into farming sooner, but I learned that traveling and farming are not conducive. So now that I'm no longer a catastrophe adjuster, I find the interesting thing is when the last 9 years of my life have been dictated by a phone call or a weather pattern somewhere, I can now actually make plans to do something, and now I have a better chance of following through on that.
Does the wife enjoy having you home?
Well, that
changes with the weather too.
What was funny about that was when I told her that I was thinking about getting off the road, I looked over and I didn't see a smile, and so I asked her. I said, "Well, what's wrong?" And she said, "Well, now I'm going to have to start making meals all the time." And I was like, "No," I said I can cook, and I said we can make soup or whatever, and I said I can eat off of that all week. I don't mind. So,
Mark Johnson, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. So, what was the motivation? Do you see this position? It came up, notification, just a regular election spot. So what was your motivation to
actually my motivation was, when I moved here 6 years ago, for me it was a blessing because in my travels, we lived in Wilmington, North Carolina for 17 years, and in my travels, there was no place that I really felt a settledness. And when what happened was my grandmother had passed away, and I knew the farm was on the market, and my mom, had been talking and never really said anything to my wife, but then she mentioned to me that, she had an interest in possibly trying to buy the place and everything. So I called my mom and told her, and she said, "Well, we have a contract on the place." And so I was kind of like, oh. And so I hung the phone up, and I had one of those quick prayers. I said, "Okay, Lord," I said, "if it's not meant to be, let the contract fall through." And a couple hours later, she called me and she said, "Well, the contract fell through." So there we started the journey.
So nothing bad happened to that family or anything?
No, nothing bad happened to them or anything like that. But for me, it's home. And if you travel a lot and you come to that place where you understand what home means, and you have a settledness and a peace, and it's a place that I want my children and my grandchildren to have a place to be able to grow up because of what I have experienced. And when I used to live with my grandparents during the summer, my grandfather raised chickens, and I I shadowed my grandfather. In fact, if he was walking and he stopped and I wasn't paying attention, I would run into him because I guess you could say I almost idolized him. But he taught me a lot about hard work. He taught me about responsibility, and again, that something that became instilled in me was a passion for farming. And after they were bought out in 1970 by Georgia Power, and they moved to Ringer Road, and then there my dad and I began raising cows, and we did that for a number of years.
Would you have qualified for this race had you not suspected or been told that the incumbent wasn't going to qualify? Would you have challenged the incumbent?
Yeah, and again, because after last year of being deployed back to back three consecutive, we call them deployments, and I'd reached that point, and when it finally clicked, I'm standing in my backyard at home, and I'm sitting there pondering and praying, and I felt like the Lord just led me to put my hat into the ring. And does that mean I'm going to win? No, but what I've learned over the years is being faithful to what the Lord sets before you.
You mentioned the churches that your family had established. What are those?
Christian churches.
Yeah. Are they local? Or are they all?
Yeah, they're all local. Yeah, my cousin actually, what was neat was she took us around several years ago and was showing us our family, kind of our family lineage, and it runs the gamut, as far as family, and it was very interesting because it's something else that really makes you feel connected to a place. And when I found out that my great grandfather had established 3 churches, it really spoke to me. It's like, wow, that's a heritage that I was never even aware of.
Mark Johnson is one of 7 candidates running for the District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Over the last several months, there's been public discussions over who can use the Carroll County Ag Center for events and how it can be used. Apparently, there's no clear definitions for the use, but now a committee has been put together to present suggestions to the Board of Commissioners to better define the use. That'll be presented. Their findings will be presented the second Tuesday of the month. That first week, they typically have their meeting on the first week, but because of spring break, they're going to delay it till the April the 9th, I believe. Now, what do you hope comes from this? Do you feel that facility should only be used by the ag community, or include Carroll County government, but exclude veterans groups and other nonprofits like the Kiwanis Pancake Breakfast, things like that?
Well, based on what I know, again, it's something that I know that they're spending a lot of time researching what is the ultimate use for the facility. I believe that I think that the farming community needs a place. They need a building for themselves, but also offering it to nonprofits.
I can't think. I mean, I was trying to think about this, but right before the show started, I can't think of any other facilities that the county runs that are leased out or just put out for people to do things. Yeah. So I mean, it's like could this building only be for people who make shoes or anything like that? I couldn't think of it. Maybe somebody who's watching on Facebook can post that up there and give me something to counteract that statement or that belief. One of the biggest functions of the board is determining land use and rezoning considerations. As a commissioner, how would you determine whether or not or when it's okay to tell a property owner, hey, you can't do this with your property because it doesn't fit, our idea? Example, when they ask ag zoning to, an ag zoning to change to commercial, how would you, what would you weigh? What do you have a list of things you would go through to determine on whether you could support that?
Well, what I look at normally is what's the long-term effect going to be? Because when we lived in Wilmington, North Carolina, we lived there for 17 years. When we moved there, it was a great place to live. And there was a mayor that was elected who was really gave the impetus to growing. Well, the problem was once the growing started, and it was always under the illusion that, we build this, it's going to increase our tax revenue. Well, the problem with that thinking is that in reality it never did raise it enough, because once you increase the population, then you've got to have more schools, you have to have more facilities to support, and then after so many years, then you have the maintenance issue. And once farmland is gone, it's gone, and I don't want to see farmland cultivate or built into subdivisions or things of that nature, because once it's gone, it's gone. And when we left Wilmington 17 years later, there were 3 things that we had. We had higher taxes, higher insurance, and traffic. traffic was it was atrocious. I mean, in fact, if you go there and back there now, my son's in the Marines in Jacksonville, so we've been up there several times, and it's like they never learned their lesson. And I think what happens sometimes is people don't think through what is it going to be like 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years down the road, or 20 years. And the other thing that really bothers me, is I've seen this more now, is where people they own land, they've owned that property for years, but if taxes, insurance, and those things continue to be raised at the rate they are, then they'll no longer be able to afford. And it's not through any fault of their own. And so I don't believe that they should be penalized.
So that's a legitimate concern as far as why next generation may not show as much interest in it. And I'm sure the the Ag Center, I'm sure they do work on promoting that for the next generation. But it is, I mean, what else can the county do as far as making that more attractive to the next generation? Because I read stories all the time about how the next generation's kind of I'm going to do something else.
But I think, and again, this is for me is the mark of a leader. A leader is not someone to me who gathers people around himself, but a leader is someone who raises up future leadership. Finding people who have an interest in farming and reaching out to them, because I think that in my experience in working with people. Sometimes it's not that people don't want to do something, even the youth, it's just that they may not even know the right question to ask. And they may not even feel or find that there's somebody who's willing to. But I'm willing to sit down because I'm willing to listen to anybody and to talk to anybody.
Well, you listened to us for like 10 minutes before the show, and we appreciate that. Crazy bunch here at the station. But Mark Johnson, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, he is one of 7 candidates for that District 5 seat. Election day is March 21st, and I think there's a 3-week early voting period.
May 21st.
Oh, I'm sorry, May 21st, and there's a 3-week early voting period prior to that. So that is coming up. We'll try to have all other 6 candidates on the program. I think we may have 3 or 4 already, and if we haven't got out to you, you reach out to us to set a date to be on the program. Again, questions and comments, feel free to post those to the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I'll take a look at those during the break, and we'll come back with more Community Voice after this time. Right now, 8:43.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
The World Language Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined, curriculum-based track to acquire essential knowledge and skills for success in biliteracy fields of study. The successful completion of this journey provides colleges with a method to recognize a rigorous foreign language immersion experience for all students at Oak Mountain Academy. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
8:43. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. We are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page this morning, so questions and comments, please feel free to post those there, or you are stuck with whatever I pull out of my back pocket this morning. My guest is one of 7 candidates running for the District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. His name is Mark Johnson. What is your experience with a budget, Mark?
Well, if you spend more than you take in, you have a problem. And unfortunately, and again, being in the insurance industry for so many years, something that we experienced the last 2 years because of the cost of materials and labor going exponentially. You can't just, an insurance company just can't raise rates because, they have to go through a process. And so what you find is that you're going to have a shortfall, and you have to plan ways in which to try to avert the shortfall. But even such, our economy is based on consumerism, both goods and services. And if people are not buying, then there's no taxes being generated. There's no tax revenue. So when you start trying to figure out how you're going to pay for your services, it's a challenge. And so, again, to me, it comes back to sitting down and looking at the long term. What we see coming down the road, and just several years back, look at what COVID did to our economy, and there's still a lot of sectors that are trying to revamp. They're trying to come back from that, and my concern, and again, this is another one of the reasons why I love farming, local farming, is because I like to eat. And the average person who sits down in front of a meal, they have no idea what sweat, toil, what risk goes into that plate of food. Americans, I think, by and far want something cheap. They want it fast, and they want an abundance of it. And the reality is that we're living in uncharted territory. And what I mean by that is, one of the things that we experience here when there's a threat of ice, the grocery store empties out in a day and a half. And what do you do? What do you do when we're talking about something that's not an ice storm, but something that appears to be long term? And so, again, it comes back to my respect that I have for farmers and what they do, because farming, to me, it takes somebody special. It's not a 9-to-5 job, and oftentimes, if a farmer is might lose his job, so to speak, well, more than likely he's going to lose his property and everything else he owns, and sometimes that's been the family for years. So, I give my support to that and encouraging, what can we do? What can we do to grow so that we're not dependent upon, someone else, somewhere else, China or any other government. And again, they're here buying up property left and right.
Have you had a chance to look at the Carroll County budget, the current budget? Have you had a chance to review that at all?
Some of it, yes.
Well, I wonder, it may not be a fair question because it is a lot. It's a lot to take in, especially when you just decided, you're going to run. There, did you come across anything where you thought there was bloat? Anything that Carroll County really needs to add to it?
I didn't see anything that I felt was bloat. In fact, in meeting some of the employees of the county, I take a great admiration for the job that they do, because they have a lot of skill and a lot of qualities that you don't see in a lot of places, and they take great pride in what they do. And no, I didn't see anything that. The one thing that really caught my attention was the property taxes. And again, I own property, I pay taxes, and I get sometimes when it's like, what am I paying for? But the property taxes do not even cover the cost of public services. And we live in a day and a time where we have something else that I did for 7 years. I was a volunteer law enforcement chaplain, and I rode with police officers, and I got to know them. I got to know what they did. And, of course, we live in a day and a time where there's this great fanfare about denigrating law enfortement. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, we have around the United States, there are those that are leaving. They're leaving their jobs, and you can't blame them. Just in some of the ride-alongs that I was doing with people, and some of the things that people said, I'm not sure that I could, I have the skill level to sit there and listen to.
And we look last week, Haralson County Sheriff's Office was faced with 3 violent situations. I mean, you're put in that situation. 3 times in a week. Where life was in danger.
Well, again, and that's something else that's changed. What used to be commonplace it's no longer considered commonplace. When you walk into a situation, a domestic dispute, you pull someone over for a traffic violation, or you serve a felony warrant. You don't know, and I say more so when you pull somebody over for a traffic violation, you don't know who that person is.
And I can hear my officer friends saying, "Man, we're putting danger more than that." These are 3 serious situations that came forward. So I do apologize for suggesting.
And again, people fail to realize sometimes these are men and women who put their life on the line, and they have families, they have children, and it grieves me. One of my I'm sorry.
I'm going to take a break right now. We'll come back with it.
It's just one of my duties as a police chaplain was to do death notifications, and there's nothing quite like the scream of a mom knowing that their child or a wife or a husband knowing that their loved one's not coming home again, and that's why when I'm out and I see a police officer or law enforcement or firefighter or anyone, I thank them for what they do, because it's not something that just anybody can do or will do.
Time right now is 8:50. We're going to take our final break, come back with about 8.5 minutes, conclude my conversation with Mark Johnson. He's one of 7 candidates running for that District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Again, questions or comments, put them up on Facebook, and I'll try to get to them in that final segment. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System, Oak Mountain Academy.
Yeah, the scream of a mom. Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh, the scream of a mom.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Entrepreneur Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined curriculum-based track to acquire essential knowledge and skills for success in business and leadership. Critical areas include identifying entrepreneurial characteristics, selecting a value position, and business model development. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
8:51. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice program. My guest this morning, Mark Johnson, one of 7 candidates for the District 5 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Going to try and cram as much stuff in here as I possibly can. First of all, do you have a website, Mark?
Yes, I do.
And what is that? That's the question. Does he have a website?
Yes, I do have a website, and I will post that.
Okay, up on the Facebook.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do that.
Yep.
We'll do that after the program. As far as determining a millage rate, we talked about the budget a little bit, and then after that comes the millage rate. When determining what millage rate to put upon county residents, what will you take into consideration when deciding whether I'm going to maintain it or raise it or lower it? What are some of the things you have to consider?
Well, one thing that I would consider is what is the projection for, a lot of times we base things on, what we feel the economy is going to do, if the value of houses are going to go up or come down, and those are things that I would look at very closely to try to determine, because it's true, this year the value of your house may be up exponentially, but next year it may drop.
Well, when the tax digest goes up and maybe the county has the option to roll it back, you're not necessarily going to judge it just based on the fact that the tax digest went up and woohoo, we got a lot of money.
No, by no means. You can't determine something just based on that.
How would you communicate? Do you have any interest in communicating with constituents, or you just kind of get
very much so. Very much so. In fact, I would tell anybody that would like to talk or find out more about me, call. My cell phone is on my website.
And as far as if you were elected and had those 4 years, any interest in town halls? You put out monthly.
Very much so. I think meeting with your constituents, finding out what their concerns or their interests are.
We got about 6 minutes left here, and I know I've got questions that might take a lot to answer. So let me pick some other ones here. But your favorite places to be in District 5? Is there a place you go to find peace that you just enjoy going? That you take your wife?
Wow. Not just in District 5, but pretty much throughout Carroll County as far as the restaurants. I remember growing up, every Saturday I used to go downtown to the square with my grandfather, and used to get a haircut for $0.25. And my grandmother.
That's what it cost me now, too.
Yeah, really. My grandmother, she worked at the Diana shop. And I remember it's just the fond memory of that, and just going down and walking around. And there are a lot of great places to go to eat and visit. And for me, the other part of it is, I remember the first time I went with my children, some of my children, my grandchildren. I'm like, wow, it's a heritage, and it's something that you really can't put a price on. And so, do
you have anybody locally and maybe in District 5 that you consider a mentor, someone that you have an issue? I mean, it may depend on what the topic is, but it's somebody that you would go to for guidance yourself.
Well, right now, what I try to do is, if I'm faced with a situation or circumstance that I'm not familiar with, I find those that have the knowledge, the story, the background, to help me come to a decision.
I got enough time here to get you another detailed question in. How about SPLOST? Are you a supporter of the special purpose local option sales tax, and do you see that that's going to be a need forever, every time that you would ever tell voters, no, I don't support it this time?
Right now, yes, I do. But I think that going back to the budget, what I see, sitting down and going through it in great depth and detail, finding out. But again, I'm emphasizing that when I was reviewing the budget, I didn't see any great glaring overtures.
Are you going door to door, or are you during the next 2-3 weeks or whatever? Are you really?
Yes, I've been going door to door, trying to meet people whenever and wherever I can, and just introducing myself, giving them my card. And,
well, give me the spiel. If you're coming up to my farm or you're coming to my house in Whitesburg or wherever, and let's just say I do let you in and talk to you, what are you telling me? What's going to be that 2-minute speech? What do you want to get across to me?
My name is Mark Johnson. I'm running for County Commissioner in District 5. I love serving people, working with people, helping people, and I'm a good listener. And I'm here if you ever have a need or you have a problem. Even in farming, I sit down and listen to farmers. As a sounding board. They may have an idea, a thought, and I sit down and listen to what they have to say.
What you've mentioned, all the 17 jobs that you've had and things you've been involved. But what do you think? What is you think the most important thing that you would bring to this board of commissioners? I mean, one that's needed. I mean, if you look at the individual personalities, you hope you have everybody that can really be an expert on one thing to share with the other commissioners and the chairman. But what do you think the most important thing that you would bring to that board would be?
I think one, the ability to listen, to weigh the facts, and to make a decision based on those facts.
And again, we hope to have your website. We're going to put your website up on our Facebook page. Once we get off the phone here, we're off the show. You'll reach out to your daughter, right? And she'll post that up there for us if she has not already. Yeah. And well, again, Mark, good to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
And again, the early voting starts when?
The primary is May the 21st, but it usually starts 2 to 3 weeks prior to that.
It's April something or other. It's going to be that last week in
Yeah.
April probably.
Yeah.
And May 21st is the election day. Well, that's one down. 6 more to go perhaps for this District 5 race. Likely there'll be a runoff election. You'd think with 7 people, but you never know. We'll wait and find out. It was great to meet you. It was great to talk to you.
Bless you.
And
Thank you.
hope you enjoyed meeting Mark this morning as well. Tomorrow, who do we have? Tomorrow I think we have the doctor from Tanner on there, and Steve's hosting that show. And then Friday we have Pastor Kevin Williams from Villa Rica First Baptist, I believe. He'll be on the show for a Good Friday. So hope you'll tune in for Community Voice program for the remainder of this week, every day at 8:30 on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Joel.